Hello, everybody. Welcome to our MCU Monday, MCU 11. Oh man, I keep forgetting to use the hashtag. It's the show that we're doing every Monday. We're watching all the MCU movies. We're rewatching them, re-ranking them. Tonight we're talking Captain America: Civil War. Chad and Rory, as always, and then we got a special guest tonight, David Bachler, Outhouse Jimmy Thunder, here in the corner. How's everybody doing this week?
Good. Yeah, nothing has changed since last week.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit confused because I know that we're going to do the alphabet game for the recap again.
Right.
So I decided to try and look up the alphabet on Google, get a cheat sheet going on.
Oh.
And I found a version of the alphabet that has a letter between H and I.
Oh, what is that letter?
It's both C and H together at the same time.
Oh.
I don't.
Is that like the Jewish alphabet?
Everything else looks the same to me.
You know what it is you're looking at Russian propaganda, Chad.
Right.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I think if there's one group of people who would know the alphabet, it would be Google, owned by the Alphabet Corporation.
Does everybody else sound like chipmunks?
Yes, that's not the. Things have changed since the last time we hung out back there. Chad is a part of me, and the parts of us that we've switched, we've also combined with chipmunks.
Right. Yeah. Chad's Roy's Quato now, sticking out of his chest, or his.
Also, my Dale.
Yeah.
And we all want a hula hoop.
Yeah. All right, yeah, we're gonna get to the plot of the movie. We're gonna put 3 minutes on the clock, and we're gonna go in alphabetical order, one plot point at a time, and tell you guys recap the entire plot of this movie in 3 minutes. My timer. Bachler, you're our guest. You get to pick the letter of the alphabet that we start with.
Again, due to the chipmunk-esque nature of how we're speaking, I can't understand what the hell you're saying.
Oh no!
Are you asking me to start?
Just pick a letter of the alphabet, and then Chad will start.
I think that if he thinks we sound like chipmunks, you have to speak real slowly and draw it out, like in Finding Nemo when you're talking to the whales.
Yeah. How is this? If we talk like giant Ant-Man, is this easier?
Better. All right, letter C.
C. Starting from Chad.
Oh, starting from me.
Yeah.
Civil War is the movie that we watched this week. And it starts out with yet another flashback, this time to 1991.
Don't kill my dad, is what Iron Man would have screamed at Bucky if he had been there, but he wasn't. He was just in virtual reality, which costs a lot of money.
About to you for E.
Every time we flash back in a Marvel movie, we have to unflash, which takes us to Africa, where Cap is training Wanda alongside Falcon and Black Widow, and things go awry very quickly.
Frank Grillo is there. He's playing Crossbones. He's back, and he tries to suicide bomb himself. But Scarlet Witch throws his explosion into a building full of innocent people, which turns out badly.
General Ross, who is now the Secretary of State for the United States in the Marvel Universe, is very upset with the Avengers about blowing up a bunch of Wakandans at the embassy in whatever country that they're in. And now they're going to have the Sokovia Accords.
Hell no, says Captain America. I don't want to be regulated. I got to find Bucky. We all wanted to find Bucky, but Captain most of all.
Introspective of Tony Stark, he is in agreement with the Accords.
It's just like that. There's drama between all of the Avengers because Cap's against it, and he's like, we gotta. Oh, we gotta. I'm not gonna sign this. And then while they go to sign it, there's an explosion, and probably Bucky that did it, and kills the King of Wakanda. 40 seconds.
King T'Chaka is the name of the king who died, and therefore his son T'Challa, who we find out is the Black Panther, is also going after Bucky as well as Cap, and everyone is going after Bucky. And there's a big chase scene, and it's super fun. And then after they get him, then there's an interrogation.
At 15 seconds.
Let my friend Captain America says, but everybody's like, no. So it gets him out anyway. And then they find out who the real bad guy is.
And time.
It's them.
Yeah. Yeah, so then the rest of the movie happens after that.
Yeah.
We are the Walking Dead.
Yes. Who was the real Civil War? The real Civil War was the friends we made along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you guys' thoughts about this? General thoughts. And we'll get into for that first half, that first act of the movie, up till the explosion, I guess, and the hunt for Bucky.
I mean, I think that the first part of this movie was really well done in the fact that like it was such a big jump forward as far as like time. Where like in the last Avengers, Age of Ultron, right? Basically, where they ended at the first Avengers, which was, oh, we should fight Hydra and find that's Scepter. Then all of a sudden they did at that one, but it was more of a continuous motion. This one I felt like was really letting us see that time had passed and what the everyday life of Avengers missions was like.
Yeah, I really like that. They are kind of cold open. They're seeing them on the mission. It was a really this is another one of those things with the Captain America movies. Always have really good fight scenes. I think I'm just a sucker for watching like guys in tactical gear just getting thrown through walls and stuff. It's fun.
This one must have really messed with your kill count for heroes, because there's like a couple of the fight scenes where like when Falcon's just like counting down how many guys are left, that I was like, he is straight executing these guys. Like there's no way that guy survived that.
Right. Yeah.
Like he dropped rockets directly on people's heads.
Yeah.
Well, even just when he's like flying by on a rocket and hits you with the wing, like you don't live through being shot with a rocket. Like even if it's a blunt force trauma,
or if a
rocket.
goose hits you with its wing, it's enough to break your bones. So if it's actually like a carbon fiber steel reinforced wing, it's gonna.
Do we have a time limit on the chipmunk thing, or is this going to be the whole 2 hours?
I think
I think it's a connection issue.
Yeah. So,
like it'd be great if that was actually a gimmick.
I'm gonna leave and come back.
Okay. Wait, try a different browser, maybe. We'll see.
We should absolutely talk like chimpunks when he comes back.
Quick, get those helium balloons I sent you.
We should go the other way and all like super Darth it. No, I think this was one of the strongest cold openings as far as like it wasn't just fan service, but like as a fan I still felt serviced. Like I love Age of Ultron's opening fight scene, but it felt like, oh, this is just showing me in between different comic book splash pages, and this one actually felt like, oh, this is why the Avengers would be a team, because like this is the worst thing to see is like good at their job terrorists attacking the CDC, and you would want super soldiers there to stop that. That's
Right.
It was cool.
Yeah. And what
Yeah.
one of the things go ahead, Chad.
I think that this is a lot closer to the opening of Winter Soldier than it is to the Avenger and the Age of Ultron opening, because with the Age of Ultron opening, uh, we did get to see a little bit of like named characters, because there was Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch and Strucker, but no one actually really did anything. Whereas in Winter Soldier, the opening, we got to see Batroc actually go toe to toe with Cap for a little bit,
Right.
and in this one, we get to see Crossbones and Cap duking it out.
Hey, Bachler,
Hey.
do we still sound like chipmunks?
No, that was the trippiest shit I've ever heard in my
Okay.
life.
Wow.
I thought you guys were punking me. It's like we're gonna do ABCs to cover the plot line, but just to make it harder, we're gonna do a chipmunk filter. I'm like, fuck you guys. I was so mad at you. Yeah, you
Yeah,
sound
that's what
normal
ABC
now.
stands for. Is always be chipmunking.
It's fucked up.
So I gotta put that in there.
It's one of those Mamet plays that didn't make the cut.
So you guys were covering the beginning up
Yeah, that
through
opening
the
scene.
Yeah. Also, like, I'm sad that Frank Grillo died.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
Crossbones
that was
is such a good villain. Like, he's never going to be a bad guy, but he's great for stuff like the opening of the movie.
Or like, you know, like a lieutenant bad guy, like he was in whatchamacallit, Winter Soldier. Like,
Mhm.
Right.
they should have killed Batroc, the guy who jumps a lot, and left Crossbones.
We need to give the man the respect. His full name is Batroc the Leaper.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or Batroc the Leaper, as it's so often written in comics.
Maybe that's what Crossbones needed, was like
In accent.
Crossbones, the jumpy guy.
Crossbones the Puncher.
Crossbones, let's skip.
Unfortunately, it would normally be Crossbones, works for Nazis.
So yeah, one of the things that I really like about this opening mission that they're on, like, it really feels like those James Bond movies, like the newer ones. Like, it feels like the opening to Casino Royale. Like,
Mm.
you know, it's running through like
The
developing countries markets and stuff.
And I also enjoyed that, like, it's weird to say it, but like I felt like this was really grounded in reality of like they're on a mission. They stop a superpowered soldier that was already involved in one attempt to like commit mass murder. They stop him from getting his hands on a bioweapon, and all the media really cares about is they didn't keep him from killing everyone, and one of them was kind of their fault.
Yeah.
Like that felt really grounded. Of like yeah, it sucks, but the other option was always going to be worse. So
Right.
I felt like that was really like an understandable response
Right.
on everybody's part. So
Well, and I think that's what made it so unsettling, like on both counts. Like, because the rational, at the end of the day, it's like, no, like, public's just looking for someone to blame. It's like, well, the guy to blame is dead. So we need somebody's dog to kick right now.
Right.
And it's going to be you guys. It's like, man.
Yeah, it's that thing that something bad happened there, and it would have been worse if they weren't there. But since they were there and something bad happened, then it's their fault. Even though,
Well, it would have been like a completely different scope of worse if they weren't there,
right?
because it wouldn't have happened in that country. It would have been like somewhere else. It's like held hostage with a bioweapon or something.
Yeah.
Especially because I don't think, I guess like the thing that I thought was cool about it is like if this was happening in like say our time, that would have been like, yeah, the Avengers dropped a city on Sokovia, which no one really gives a fuck. I mean, that they were a country that was harboring Nazis slash terrorists. We
Right.
don't really care if people went in there and got a whole bunch of people killed. That's exactly what the free world would say today.
Right.
But the moment you accidentally blow up a marketplace, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And
The thing is,
it's not like either one's good, but
right. So they talk throughout the movie about how the Avengers, they dropped the city on Sokovia, and whoops. But really, I mean, Ultron dropped the city on he was going to drop the city on the world. So it's like, they were there and they were stopping something much worse, but everyone remembers just what the bad thing that happened, and then they were there and they could have made it better. So it's
Well, can
their
we
fault.
also like
Yeah.
how that immediately ties into the nitty and gritty of like the Sokovia Accords, which is maybe one of you more educated comic book readers can verify for me. So the actual Civil War series was from early 2000s, right?
Mhm.
And instead of Sokovia Accords, it was actually more along the lines of like a mutant registration or an enhanced person's registration, sort of like how they did in
Superhuman.
X-Men, right?
Yeah. Actually, just to jump in on that, it's a direct predecessor to the Mutant Registration Act, where then they wanted to do it superhuman because the Mutant Registration Act didn't include people that gained their superpowers later on in life.
Okay, got you. What was really fucking interesting was like the irony of big government stepping in, being like, "You need to ask us first," and it's like, "Oh, you mean like in New York, where you were just gonna nuke the city?"
Yeah.
And you're talking to us about collateral damage?
Right. And that's the whole big thing about this is that, they'd signed the Accords, and now they're under the control of the UN. I guess like they're taking orders from the secretary, who when the secretary is Robert Redford, he was evil. He was an evil Nazi who was in charge of Shield in the same position. So it's like now we should be under that guy. But this guy, Thunderbolt Ross, is the one. He's a good guy, I guess, but he's not really that good because he started.
Yeah, he's the
Untitled
patriot
Chapter,
that accidentally set to the Hulk
Yeah,
and
Gamma
Abomination
Yeah.
in
Right.
Brooklyn. So
Yeah,
And he's still got his job.
right. Like now he should be in
I
charge.
think he actually failed upwards.
Right. Yeah, he did.
So, but like that's one of the things that I liked about the MCU's version of the Civil War is like in the comics, the Mutant Registration Act was like super racist. Like it was very much a allegory for the government registering people that are different.
Right.
And that's never going to work well. But then the Civil War wasn't a whole lot better, where it was like the way it was written didn't make the most sense. This one, I felt like I could really see the MCU, why people would be like, yeah, we don't want the Avengers just running around willy-nilly. But at the same time, I could definitely see why those particular Avengers were like, yeah, but the people you're putting in charge of us aren't the people that should be in charge of us. So
Right.
I thought that was a really well done argument.
Yeah, it's the weird thing about this is that all the arguments from Team Iron Man side aren't really good, and he doesn't even agree with it. Like by the end of the movie, he's undermining what the the Accords are supposed to do. He goes to the prison and he turns off the stuff so that he can go off and do his own thing. It's like, he doesn't even believe it. Yeah.
What it seems like Team Iron Man in the movie, the argument is, look, if we don't agree to this, they're going to do something worse later.
Right.
And that's a piss poor argument.
It is, yeah.
I mean, I kind of understood the Iron Man and Black Widow's thing of this is gonna pass whether or not you say yes or no. You're not agreeing with whether or not the Accords should or shouldn't be. All of the countries have already agreed to this. We're just asking that you sign up so that you can do stuff. That's how it came across, where it was that this was a compromise, not that they really agreed with the legislation,
right.
But
yeah, so that kind of makes why the whole Civil War aspect of this movie doesn't really work for me. Is that it's supposed to be Cap versus Iron Man and this ideological battle, but then Iron Man's side he doesn't really have a philosophy he's defending. He's just saying, if we don't do this, then it's just gonna make our lives harder.
And I'm with Jonesy on that, because it's characterologically speaking, both Black Widow and Iron Man have been on, the news. Black Widow was a whistleblower and dumped all of Hydra's files, very anti-establishment. And then, Iron Man in Iron Man 2, he was you can't have my suit. And he was very anti-regulation. And it would have worked better for me if there was a more pronounced and defining, a more personal flip to Tony Stark's, this is why I think this way. Because it's it just didn't play with him characterologically. It's what? You're depressed and you just want something new to do because Pepper Potts and you are on a break. I don't, that's the only compelling. And then the convenience of the mother that meets him in the elevator shaft. It's come on, it was a good moment, and both actors did incredible, but it's just narratively, it just felt like low hanging fruit, or they were just stretching.
I guess the reason why it did work for me is because at the end of Ultron, Tony Stark is just funding the Avengers. He's not active duty anymore as Iron Man, at least not as much. And then if I was thinking of this as an Avengers Civil War, I think I would be more in agreement with you guys that it needed to be Tony Stark needed to have more of an issue. But since it's Captain America Civil War, I kind of looked at this as even though Team Iron Man didn't necessarily agree with what they were doing, this was more about what Captain America was doing and why Captain America didn't agree with the Accords. So it was, I don't think they were the nemesis necessarily. They were just the people that were having to enforce it. And I feel like Iron Man did agree, and he was trying to get it taken care of before there was no way back. Because I think Iron Man was if you violate the Accords, there's nothing I can do, but I'm trying to keep this a contained mess. But yeah, that's why it worked a little bit more for me. It wasn't that I felt like Captain America was at Civil War with his country more than against Iron Man specifically.
I get that. This movie's kind of a mess because it's got a lot of really good things in it, but then there's also too much stuff going on, so you never really get to fully commit to any of the things in it. So it's like, and then all of the I just remember all the marketing and everything about it being Captain America versus Iron Man, basically, or Team Cap versus Team Iron Man, with like the hashtags and all that stuff. And it's like if it wasn't called Civil War, if it was called some version of Cap and Iron Man have a disagreement, or we got to hunt for Bucky for different reasons. I don't know, some other thing. Like Civil War makes it sound like it's gonna be a grander scope of stuff
Yeah.
than it really ends up being. When it's really the major conflict is that most of the time it's that, you know, they have to go hunt down Bucky because they think that he's still a terrorist out there committing bombings and things, and everybody but Cap thinks that, everybody in the world, right? And he's the one who's trying to defend him. But then we put the Accords on there, and we had to bring Spider-Man and everything else in there. Like, it gets lost. It's like, it's too many things.
Yeah, I agree that this movie would have been better if this was Captain America: Winter Soldier, and
Right.
because like that's really what this movie is about. Everything else is the backdrop, and I think that would have been a great backdrop.
Right.
But I like the movie. I just feel like what they marketed it as and what it was supposed to be isn't what it was. And I think because I'm just watching it for what it was, it doesn't bother me as much that those particular plot points don't bother me as much as they could otherwise.
Right.
I did get really pissed when General Ross was saying, or Secretary Ross was saying, "You've lost 2 superpowered people, and if we lost 2 nukes, that would be a problem." And it's like, first off, you lost that same guy for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And you made like another nuke to go find that nuke, and then they blew each other up.
Right.
And 2, like, they keep referencing these human beings as weapons of mass destruction. And it's like, a nuke doesn't go out for coffee, like that's it. I thought it was interesting how blatantly they were dehumanizing the people that they were talking about.
Right.
And then the third thing was like, you didn't lose Thor. He went back to his space kingdom.
Yeah.
That's completely different. That's not your nuke. Like,
yeah, it's his own nuke with his own decision-making power.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing they didn't have Thor in the movie, because they'd be like, how are we going to get this god king from another planet to sign our piece of paper? Also, I think it's funny that Vision signed it, because he's just not a person, right? He's just a robot.
Yeah.
Well, on the back end of everything, aside from the story, this was kind of an interesting era for the MCU from what I've heard. Because originally this was basically earmarked as, like, the working title was essentially Winter Soldier 2, right?
Right.
But then there was some speculation about perhaps doing the Civil War thing, and then that was getting knocked around, and they were trying to see who they could get from the MCU to sign on to that, and that's when all the negotiations started happening. And I guess Robert Downey was sort of one of the noisier voices in all of this. I might have the who's who of it wrong, but the broad strokes being that some of the people were actually kind of peeved that they were just reduced to a cameo, right? And they wanted they wanted to be featured in it. They wanted a larger role.
Right.
And this is what I've heard, is that this is essentially like the time where Kevin Feige was sort of at the pleasure of serving at the pleasure of the ivory tower still, and he was still at the behest of his VP, and he went above that person's pay grade to be like, look, the VP's like cutting my knees out from under me, and I don't know what to do. And essentially, whatever the God, who's in charge of. Essentially, they gave Kevin Feige the autonomy he was looking for, and that's when he decided to go full on and be like, all right, we'll scrap Winter Soldier 2, and this is going to be Civil War now. And this part of the MCU was interesting. Is like this is when Kevin Feige got. I mean, it's interesting because if this hadn't have happened, and if Kevin Feige hadn't gone above his pay grade, like we may not have gotten the Infinity War or Endgame that we ended up getting. So this was like a really cool juncture on the back end of things. And I agree with Jonesy. I mean, it is a bit of a mess. Had they done something like the registry or the enhanced persons registry or whatever, I mean, there's just something about the Sokovia Accords that make it impersonal and like just straight political.
Right.
Versus, something like the registry would have impacted not just them but everyone of their kind, right?
Yeah.
And then I could have gotten on. I don't know. It just seems like in any situation, I don't know. I just don't see a world where Cap and Tony at this point in the MCU arc are not on the same page. I think their only saving grace was integrating Winter Soldier assassinating the parents.
Yeah, and then that's right there at the end of the movie. So there,
Right.
the conflict up to that is what is it? It's that like Cap and the Falcon are on the run because they broke the law, and now Iron Man's a cop, so he's got to go and find them. But I don't know. I think what you're saying about like, so many characters are in this movie, and they all kind of just have cameos. It's like it's such a big story that's supposed to affect everybody in such a way that you would have to do a lot more. Like this should be like maybe a TV series or something. You know what I mean? Like if it was like a 6-episode series instead of a movie, they would have been able to do a lot more with it. It would have been a lot more satisfying. I think.
And not that they would have done it back at the time, but if they were able to do a two-parter in the same way that Infinity War and Endgame was, that probably also would have made everything feel less bloated, and there would have been a lot more characterization time available to people so that we could get to understand their motivations more, rather than just having to sort of fan wank ideas about like, oh, maybe the Iron Man is really up for giving up his autonomy because of his guilt for Ultron or something.
Right.
And it's like there's no evidence for that given in the movie. It's just like some ideas that some people had, and they're just like, yeah, that seems not unreasonable.
Right. So I mean, like guilt's a big thing in this movie. It's a lot of what drives everybody to do the things that they do is because they feel bad about the things that they've had to do. Like even with the Ultron stuff and then dropping the city, and like it starts off with like Iron Man. He's in we get that weird de-aged Robert Downey Jr. talking to his parents to like relieve himself of that guilt of his not telling his parents he loved them before they died and all that. And like Cap, he feels bad for Bucky, right? He feels guilty about getting Bucky killed or turned into a Winter Soldier, right? Because he was responsible for him in that mission, right? So he's always looking out for him, trying to save Bucky. That's driven by his guilt, I think, for it. And it's you can go back for most of the characters having something like that, but we're not really exploring it enough in this movie. I feel like it's all there, but we don't really, not really hitting it because there's so much other things we got to do.
And I think too, like, I think more than the other movies up to this point, this movie was yanking things out of the comics that were fresher. Like the original Winter Soldier arc was from like the 90s, right? Before that?
No, it was from like the mid 2000s, I believe, because Winter Soldier came back as Bucky around the same time that Jason Todd came back as Red Hood. Like they were within the same year, I believe.
Oh,
Oh, okay. I
And
thought
I want to say both of those were like 2003 ish.
okay. Still, I guess I didn't
Still
know
very
that. But
recent.
yeah. But like this Civil War 2 was coming out in the comics right as this was coming out. So I feel like this was more of a, I don't know, like this one felt more like stuff was getting added on from the comics and trying to steal some of the comics thunder or redirect people back to the comics more than other movies had. So there was just giant chunks of this movie that I was like, oh, I see where they're taking this from.
right.
But I felt like that the first time, where it wasn't even like I was being like, when I was a kid, this is what happened. And it was like,
Right.
in this one, it was very much like comics were still on the shelves almost.
Yeah, the Civil War comic was 2006, and this movie came out in 2016. So it was
Okay.
just 10 years
Right.
from page to screen.
And they were still dealing with the Civil War, like in the comics of the time, that it was still like the repercussions hadn't fully been taken care of. So I feel like I don't know, like I feel like I enjoyed it, but it was because I had that strong understanding of the comics and where the characters are coming from, that like I can just automatically fill in what is missing in the movie. And if you have that, it's almost like this movie is like slang, where it's like if you understand the language, you understand the slang a lot better. But if it's your second language, then this movie doesn't make as much sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why Marvel movies have been so successful is that you don't have to have a lot of that background knowledge going into the movies in general. I think that's why Iron Man was so successful and they were able to build the whole universe. It's because you were like, okay, if you just watch the movies, you should be okay. So when they grab too much stuff from there, it can kind of put people off balance if they're just coming in just as a movie fan.
Another thing that I thought was a missed opportunity in this, with how much people were like, Bucky, he's a bad guy, where Black Widow was like, I basically did the exact same thing, except I wasn't completely brainwashed. Like I was just trained good, and I fully remember killing everybody that I did kill. And up until the Black Widow movie comes out, you have no knowledge that she was ever under any kind of mind control or anything other than indoctrination. So like seeing how she's Team Iron Man and Team Iron Man is like, let's go kill Bucky, and she's like, well, let's just forget about what stuff I did then. I just thought that was kind of a missed opportunity for her to bring up that.
Yeah, she doesn't really get a lot to do in this movie other than kind of be in the middle as a peacekeeper and just be like, everybody needs to chill out or whatever. But like we don't get to see what her character really feels about any of the stuff. She's just trying to.
Can we talk about that damn moment in the hangar real quick?
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, she's like, I told you I would help you find him. I never said I would help you catch him.
Right.
There's a How does Black Panther not just bat kick her in the face?
Well, she keeps electrocuting him.
you got to run out of those eventually.
Yeah,
but it's just
exactly.
like they're blinking at each other, and then they cut to another scene, and I'm
Right.
like,
Oh no,
what?
he jumps up and grabs onto the landing gear of the plane, so he's busy. But yeah, it's
Yeah, but
weird
they
how
have
they
that
just
dialogue
forgive her
after
for
he
that.
falls off of
Yeah.
the thingy.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it is weird that she doesn't really have. Everyone's like, oh, we gotta put her in jail too. Does she end up in the jail? She doesn't end up in the jail, right?
She's not even put in.
Yeah, she should be in the jail.
Also, what happened to Tony Stark's PTSD?
He talks about it a little bit when his whole hologram thing up like that.
Yeah,
so
he
he's
got
using
that.
it for that.
He's got a virtual reality program where during the Battle of New York, he was sitting in his living room being like, man, I'm glad I don't have to go outside. And now he's all
Hang out
better.
with my dead parents and be
Yeah.
young and really, really smooth.
He's probably got more therapy off screen.
Yeah. And he made a lot of progress on Iron Man 3.
Also, up until Banner disappears, like he was acting as his therapist.
Yeah. It's true, that was that whole movie.
Yeah.
Just want to talk about that de-aged Robert Downey Jr. and how dead the eyes looked to me in that, and it was weird because with Vision, who's supposed to be a robot man, like his eyes are much more expressive, even though they're robot eyes, but they're on a human being, as opposed to trying to put human being eyes on a robot, computer animated thing. So it's weird.
Have
eyes
you
are, yeah, I don't know.
have you actually gone back though and looked at young Robert Downey Jr. movies?
It's been a
Because
while.
he's got dead eyes. He's got dead coke-filled eyes. Like
100%, dude. That's a
Like-
really good point.
I glazed over.
like more than the eyes not being right. It was like the weird forehead, like it seemed like he had like a smaller skull cap on a bigger face. Like that's what kept throwing me off. Like the CGI has come a long way since then. With de-aging, but that one where I was like, this looks like they put Robert Downey Jr.'s face on somebody else's body, like before he got the super soldier serum. It's weird. Also, in this kind of program, you would be the one thing that doesn't need to be brought back. Like, you would be going through this, right? Not like, is the program really you just sitting in the living room watching a younger version of yourself do something better than you did? Because like that would fuck me up more. Because it would just be like, oh, that time that I fucked up, I still remember that, but now I get to see what would have happened if my life was better.
Yeah.
Also, I feel really old now. Look at me. I used to have dead coke eyes, and now they're alive and filled with pain.
Yeah. When you get those Facebook flashback photos from 10 years ago, you go, oh, man, I used to be so young.
Yeah. And I felt
I feel
old bad.
Yeah.
Whatever narrative, do's and don'ts that they're, retrospectively are, I gotta say, they nailed the damn banter. I mean, this one was awesome. Like, it was, like, I would say even more, I don't know, like, it's even more so than, like, an Avengers film. Maybe it's because it's, like, it's not an Avengers film technically, but you basically get an Avengers film. But all of the tiny little banter that happens it just feels way more abundant than like in a typical Avengers film where it feels a little bit more put on. Like even in the very beginning where Falcon's like, you are a deeply mistrusting person. Or he was like, has anybody ever told you you're a very untrusting person? And she's like, not to my face. Why? Have you heard something? And it's like, just, I was like, and even just the, like, you couldn't have done that 10 minutes ago. Like, I hate you. Like, it was just really good banter.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize how much.
I think that a lot of the banter stuff just comes from the background of the people working on the the stuff because, like the first two Avengers movies, we had Joss Whedon who wrote great banter in 1999,
Yeah.
and it's sort of aged badly since then. And now we got guys that worked on Community, which is an incredible TV show.
Yeah, it's a great one. Like great banter on that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching
And the
when we.
dean has failed up.
Yeah, that's right. Dean
Mhm.
Pelton. Jim Rash was in. He's an MIT guy now. He's the dean of MIT. I
Dean,
assume.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was listening to the director's commentary for Age of Ultron when we covered Age of Ultron a couple weeks ago, and yeah, Joss Whedon, he talks like somebody that he writes, and it was kind of annoying. 2 hours.
As a fun fact, so we're rewatching Community.
Nice.
Or she's rewatching. I'm watching completely for the first time because I'd only seen episodes with you, Jones. But like the episode before I watched this movie was the one where the dean buys the virtual reality operating system for the school.
Nice.
So that I was like, oh, it's Dean Pelton seeing a wildly successful virtual reality system. Like, this is meta for me. Not for anybody else, but for me, this is super meta.
You just saw this.
Yeah.
And you can see the difference between what a community college virtual reality system is versus MIT's.
Yeah. You get what you pay for it.
Also, I did want to mention that Bachler pointed out one of the Falcon and Bucky lines where it's like they have such a good rapport, like from the jump in this movie. It's like they actually seem like better bros than Bucky and Cap do.
Yeah. Yeah, like I've been saying since Captain America, the first Avenger, like Cap and Bucky don't really have any chemistry. Like there's one moment at the end of the movie when they're getting off the plane and they're reminiscing about that time they spent all their train money on hot dogs and were trying to impress some redhead. And I was like, oh, these two seem like friends for the first time in the 9 hours of Captain America movies we've got. Now it seems
that's
like
the one thing that I never got about that. I'm sorry, Jonesy. Go ahead.
No, that's all I'm saying. Is like, yeah, this is the first time it feels like he actually likes him. Seeing them do friend stuff.
I feel like the formula between Falcon and Bucky was so much richer because they do what bros do to each other. We give each other shit nonstop. Right. And it's more so predicated on like how much we're irritated with shit that you do. That we bond together.
Yeah.
Versus like, and again, I think this is like a missed opportunity with Bucky and Steve Rogers. Is if my little friend that I used to be very like paternal to and like baby along, protect them and all that, showed up one day and was 220 pounds and jacked.
Yeah.
I'm like, homie, I'm going to give you so much shit from now on because I know you can take it. Like, I would have loved to have seen Bucky just flip and just, like, make fun of him nonstop.
Right.
Because he's like, I get to say everything that I didn't get to say to you when you were a weak piece of crap. This is great.
I would have felt like a bully, but now I can bust your balls all I want.
Right.
But he doesn't do it once.
Well, he's like, you used to wear newspapers in your shoes. Like, and I was like, that's the only like modern Bucky line that I'm like, yeah, they were homies.
Yeah.
I mean, I think too, like, and I don't think this is on Chris Evans as much, but like, I feel like they lean too hard into Captain America feels the weight of being Captain America too strong. And that's not something that they've only lightly dealt with in the comics, that Captain America doesn't have a social life. Like Steve Rogers is basically dead. And it's weird that like I wanted to see a lot more of Captain and Black Widow interacting, because I feel like they were the ones that actually had a.
Yeah,
I feel like she's the only one that has.
She's like the only person that calls him Steve, I think.
Yeah, So
He's Captain America and everybody else.
And I think that it's interesting, and they could have leaned into it either more where like he feels really alienated by the world, or given him a couple of more moments of like, you know, I used to just be like this tiny little dude, like
Right.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll get those.
I
good
didn't get
character
enough
moments.
Black Widow ever. So
Yeah. Well, we will when we finally get around to watching and discussing the Black Widow movie.
No, that's
I
still
assume.
not enough, really.
not enough. Yeah.
The problem is, though, after that, that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, she doesn't die. She die in it? I don't know. Spoilers.
The thing too is like, and for all the people watching, I'm not even like a huge Scarlett Johansson fan.
Really?
Like, I liked her characterization specifically in the 2 Captain America movies. That made me like her more as that character. So yeah, I feel like she was super underutilized. I like her way more than Wanda.
Yeah, Wanda's
How dare you, sir?
weird character.
Ghost in Shell was a revelation.
Important movie, I think. Tried watching it. I couldn't really understand what's going on. You like it, Freaks, of course, and then of course Ghost World is the worst comic book movie I've ever seen. So there's no ghosts, and Black Widow's in it, but she doesn't kill anyone with her thighs. That's what
The only reason why I can't get on board with Black Widow is because it's Elizabeth Olsen, and the only reason I can't get on board with Elizabeth Olsen is because I know her sisters, and I hate them. You know what I mean? It's sort of like that awkward younger sibling, like in high school, where they're cool, but I know they're douchey older siblings.
Right.
I'm like, oh, God. Deep down somewhere, you're probably just like them.
Yeah. Kind of like if you're liking a band, but not liking their fans so much, you're like, I can't like this band now.
Yeah. Like Black Flag.
Yeah.
In addition to really great dialogue moments in the movie, another thing that I would really like to talk about is the 1991 flashback with the car wreck. They keep going back to it over and over again. And every time they go back to it, they show us a little bit more, until finally we get to the last full reveal of everything that happened in there. And I just thought that it was such a great motif to have this one scene that we just keep flashing back to over and over again be that central point underpinning the entire movie.
I did like that. I do want to say that my favorite thing about this movie was Zemo.
Yeah, he did great.
He did great, and like he played the part really well. He played it so well that I was excited to see him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But also, I loved that this movie showed how dangerous someone like the Black Widow really is on a world stage, where it's like, no, they know the right things, they know how to do stuff, and they're not necessarily on anybody's side, and that is terrifying. Like without a superpower, with just knowing the right files and taking his time, he managed to do a great deal of bad things, and I thought that was just really
and he like he says at the end, like he won. He got what he wanted, and he's a villain that was kind of, I guess, defeated at the end without anybody even punching him. Like I guess he gets put in a sleeper hold, but that's it. Like nobody even has to fight him. He doesn't have to fight anybody. He gets what he wants. It's really well done.
Can I bring up one moment that just bugs me? It's when he's finding that old Soviet officer.
Oh yeah.
at the house, and then he ties him up, flips him upside down, and turns on the water faucet.
Right.
He's gonna drown him.
Yeah.
Every time I watch that, I just wish they would have had the guy try to do one sit-up, try and get out of that tub, and then like just get to appreciate like him like whacking his head against the.
Or you just you do a good crunch and you're holding it like, okay, I can breathe now, but it's like, how long can you hold a crunch when you're hanging upside down?
Well,
Like,
I mean,
maybe
his
10
forehead
seconds?
for sure would have hit
Yeah.
the edge of the sink, but
Well,
I
yeah,
still
that
want to
too.
see it.
You gotta try.
That's the thing that made me like it a little bit though, is like if you put me in the exact same position, I'd be like, we're both gonna die not knowing whether I can do a sit-up, because I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction, sir. You can knock me out, you can tie me up, you can fill up this sink. I know it's gonna take about 20 minutes, but I'm not even gonna try to do a sit-up. Fuck you. I am retired.
Zemo's great.
So yeah, Zemo's great.
He's like evil Batman.
Yeah, that is like a Batman kind of thing. And
one thing that was really beautiful that they did with Zemo were the messages, right? The voicemails that he kept periodically playing back.
Right.
And I thought what was really beautiful at the end during his interaction with Black Panther was, he's been deleting them as he goes. You come to find out as he deletes that last message. And that was just great. Like, it was so grounded.
Yeah, it's a really good character. And I think, like, I've seen that trope in a few other movies and like TV series and stuff of people are listening to their voicemails from their dead loved one or whatever. And I think that's the modern equivalent for like older movies when people would have to go back and watch their wedding videos or whatever on TV when they're drinking and reminiscing about old times. I think that's our modern equivalent of that. That's what it'll be too. Once our loved ones are all dead, that's how we're going to remember them, is through our phones. So
yeah, but it's not even going to be voicemail because we don't call each other. It's got to be text messages.
My voicemail is full of robocalls, so yeah, don't do that.
Or maybe dead people TikToks.
Yeah, that's how it'll be.
I gotta start making TikToks so people remember me. I don't have that much time.
I'm gonna get into Spider-Man, and Marissa Tomei, who's great. Always point out that she's always great in everything she does.
And super hot.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well,
I
dude,
feel,
I mean,
I can't
no, go
think
ahead,
of,
Rory.
I can't think of like, I feel like there's Marissa Tomei and like Michelle Pfeiffer that like from the time I was like 8 or 9 was like, oh, they're really hot. And that has never changed.
Right.
Not once, not even like, oh, they used to be hot. Like every single time. And like not even like hot in like that like douchey guy way where it's just like every time I'm like, how is this isn't fair? Like,
dude, she's like mastered the art of understated hotness, and I feel like that's the key. You know what I mean? You don't have to be slapped in the dick with it every time, but it's just a nice low hum. It's beautiful. But yeah, dude, the introduction of Spider-Man, I mean, it's dope, bro. Like, I mean, it was all encompassed in like when he said, when what happened to me happened, things changed. It's like, dude, it was great. It's like, yep, we've seen the Spider-Man backstory umpteen times. Don't need to see it again. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. We don't have to go and watch Uncle Ben die again, so that's nice.
That's what I tune in for.
Yeah. It's got to be a supercut of all the Uncle Bens dying, right? Somewhere on YouTube. And also a supercut of Batman's parents dying.
I think that there's a lot more Wayne's dying than Uncle Ben's dying.
There's been a lot more,
out there. Yeah.
I think one of my favorite just backstories of Spider-Man and Uncle Ben is when Brian Michael Bendis had the Ultimate Universe. He started out with the X-Men, and then he brought in Spider-Man. And his daughter, I want to say, was reading it, and like she was just old enough to be like, "Oh God, no, Dad, don't kill Uncle Ben." And
You
he's
can
like,
stop it. You can stop the cycle.
I can't do that. And she's like, "No, you got to keep him alive. He's great." It's like, sorry, kiddo. But I just love that the idea of like in comics now they've rehashed stuff so much that now the writers' kids are old enough to be like, well, I've read this other stuff and I know what you're about to do.
There's three things I know about Spider-Man. One is that he's a spider. One is he's a man. Third is that Uncle Ben dies.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that. It was weird that he kept his. Oh, go ahead.
It's one of those things where there are certain heroes where like their origin is it's been rehashed so many times that there's like just incredible shorthand for how things are. I just sent you a picture that I don't know whether or not you can throw it up on the screen, but it's like a one-panel origin thing of Spider-Man where it's just 6 words, and that's all he needs to explain his entire deal.
So computer's being kind of slow right now, but yeah,
All
I'll
right,
put that up in a second.
He's going to put that up in a second, but until then, it's just a little picture of Spider-Man. It just says, "Got bit, uncle died, fight crime." That's all you need.
Sure.
Before we stray too far away from this little spin-off here, is there ever an instance where Martha Wayne is not wearing pearls? Ever? Or does she wear pearls every time she's killed?
I think she's rich enough where she always wears pearls all the time.
Yeah, she wore them a bunch of times when she didn't die.
I think that I'm not sure if she wore them like in the first couple of times that you see her die, but at the very least since the 80s, every single time without fail, because somewhere along the line, someone was like, the pearls falling and hitting the ground is a great visual, and we're just going to beat that to death.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been. I know we're straying off into like discussing a different film now, but like it would have been great in like The Dark Knight Rises when Selena Kyle's stealing the pearls. He's like, fine, fucking get rid of it. Like,
I don't want him.
Like he can't like stand the sight of a pearl necklace or something. He's got like pearl PTSD or some shit. Like, that would have been a great little quirk to write into Bruce Wayne.
Well, we got to figure out what the modern day version of pearls are, because in the new Batman movie, I think Robert Pattinson's parents would have been murdered in like 2005 or something. So what were people wearing back then? iPhones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he thinks of as he sees her iPhone hit the ground and screen crack.
I'm just imagining the slow motion screen cracking. And then like you see like the reflection of young Bruce crying as the screen is like breaking and spider webs cracking everywhere. And then you understand that his life shattered like the screen.
Well, that's where you got the bat, is when the light from the screen is shining up through the broken screen, it makes the outline of the bat on the alley wall. Like, it all comes.
That's amazing.
And everybody's always asking him why he uses a flip phone. It's like, you don't want to talk about it.
I don't use guns. I don't use phones. That's why we got the bat signal.
That's where he wants to let us all know to keep Jada's name out of your mouth, bro.
Wow.
Important.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We were talking about Batman, and I remembered that one from earlier today.
Good. You send all your best Will Smith slap memes to @WillSmith on Twitter, which is not that Will Smith, it's some other guy. He's been having a very long day today, I'm sure.
Very long couple of days now.
Yeah. So I think it was kind of weird that Spider-Man, he keeps his costume in his ceiling, like tied in a noose. That was weird. Like,
I don't
Tony just stops
understand
the
why
screen
it's
and then it
tied
falls
together,
out.
but I can understand like why it's like put in the ceiling.
Yeah, that makes sense. Gotta hide it from Aunt May.
Yeah, because it seems like that's probably where if I was living there, I would have put porn when I was
Yeah.
his age.
Oh yeah.
All I can think of is that that's like leftover Halloween decoration, and like it's like that dumb kid idea of like, well, if anybody does find it, it'll be like, oh, that was from Halloween.
Yeah. I had that effigy of Spider-Man hanging on the front stoop.
Yeah. Wait, you don't think my effigy bit that guy, and that's how he got my suit powers?
Another piece of trivia about that scene with Tony and
I
Spider-Man.
really liked the super-powered fight scene. Seems like, I'm sorry?
I was saying a piece of trivia about that scene where Robert Downey Jr. is in his bedroom. And he's about to sit down. He's like, I'm going to sit there, so you got to move your leg. That was not scripted. He was like, oh, I have to sit there because of our blocking. And that's where I'm supposed to sit, so you need to move your leg. But they stayed in character, so they left it in the movie. I think Rory might be gone. So I think we'll save our talk about the superpowers till Rory's back. Oh, there he is. Where are we saying?
Hey.
Superpower fight scene? Which one? The airport?
Oh,
airport fight? What are we talking
yeah,
about?
just the airport fight scene. I thought that was good. I enjoyed watching the superpower on superpower, and also just the whole idea of we need to have certain guys for certain guys, like Black Widow's good and everything, but like unless you're trying to murder people, she's not like the best.
Right.
She but like I enjoyed that scene, that it wasn't just comic blasts all over the place. Like,
yeah, there were some really good moments in that, especially like what we were talking about earlier with Falcon and the Winter Soldier running through the airport while Spider-Man's chasing them. They had a lot of good rapport building moments in that. That was really fun. Giant Man was cool.
Yeah, the whole airport fight was super fun. Going back to that digression that we had about Batman, I just looked up Detective Comics 33. The very first time that Batman's parents ever died, and Joe Chill actually does ask for the necklace. Can't tell whether or not it's pearls because it was drawn in 1939 and art wasn't as good then. But a necklace was central to the origin.
Right. Yeah, because necks, that's where vampires fight women, right in their necks, and of course vampires and bats, Batman. There you go. It's all connected. It's poetry.
Also, not just the airport scene, but also the Black Panther Bucky on the road scene. I thought that was cool, where we actually got to see them running faster than a car. Like, we've seen superpowers against superpowers, but like everybody's always just running away. I like seeing that aspect of it.
Yeah, I think that's
also Iron Man's little glove was fun.
Yeah, that was cool. He's a little. He pulls it out of his watch and pulls it out. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. And also that during that chasing, that's where we have the Cap grabbing the helicopter and curling it with his bicep. There's always a scene in every Captain America movie where he does something that makes me want to go, man, I gotta go to the gym. I want to be able to do that. I want to look like that.
That was the Captain America cheesecake scene.
Yeah.
Usually it's just like when he's walking around in a t-shirt. I'm like, I should go to the gym. It's like, well, I'll start going to the gym once I can get that like bionic Bucky arm.
You don't have to work out half as many arms.
I just want them to give me some like super drugs to make me not actually have to go to the gym.
Right. Yeah. That super soldier serum, it makes you a little crazy, but they just put you in cryo sleep. Also, I have
the moral of Captain's story: just be a really nice guy until some random stranger comes along and gives you steroids, and then everything will work out.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, he also ends up taller after that, right? So does that mean it made his bones grow? Probably. Right?
I assumed that's what the pain was, that he was screaming in the Vita chamber.
Right.
Also, if you guys recall, since we were talking about the chase scene with Panther and Winter Soldier, you guys remember that slow-mo sequence where Winter Soldier jumps onto the motorcycle?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else, like, why the fuck was that slow-mo? Like, all he did was, like, put his hand out
Right.
and then did a little John Wayne, like, hop along, swing his leg over thing, and I'm like, you guys didn't have to slow, like, it would have been cooler if it was, like, in real time. Like,
I think that's why, though, is that they had to do that so slow to get the shot that there's no way to put it in real time and have it look right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's you know how many takes we had to do?
We have the whole Vision and Scarlet Witch budding romance thing. It's weird. Another, because next time we see them, they're just straight up in love and living in Eastern Europe and hiding somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this one, like, there's a lot of Scotland. There you go.
Yeah. That's about as far east in Europe as you can go.
Yeah, that's as far east into Europe as I want to go. Yeah, it's the whole thing where, like, he's kind of keeping her captive, and then she has to use her powers against him, and then there's a lot of them, like, betraying each other's trust and not. They don't seem like people that should be in love at the end of this movie. I feel like there's a lot they need to talk out that we don't really see.
He's also only like a couple of years old.
Right, yeah. Maybe months even. And I don't know, honestly, I brought this up during Age of Ultron. I don't know how much of her life she spent living in a box. So, like, what is her, mental development like? Like, when we see her bedroom, and it looks like a teenager's. It's like posters on the wall and the guitar and stuff. So, like, I don't know what's going on there.
Vision's like, oh yeah, older women. I wish that fucking, like, I really wish that they would have done something a little bit more real with, like, a dude who doesn't eat cooking food. Like,
right.
If they would have just pulled a Johnny Five, you know what I'm saying? Like, a short circuit and him just botching the whole thing.
Yeah, he's pouring batteries in there and stuff.
I also I realize that actor has done a lot of things and is a good actor and everything, but like every time he opens his mouth, I go straight back to Knight's Tale. Like every single time, and I'm just like, it's hard for me to imagine you as a superpowered robot because you're clearly a barker for
it's Geoffrey Chaucer.
Yeah.
I need to look up, like, how much did he work out for this? Because, like, he's very big. Like, they put him in the android costume and then put, like, regular clothes over him, which makes him look really big and muscular and stuff. But, like, how much of that is his actual muscles versus, like, prosthetics and stuff?
He did not work out a day for that one. It's all the suit.
He didn't have to, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like,
for a Marvel movie, he just might, just because they pay to have a trainer and stuff.
He's married to Jennifer Connelly. Like, the guy must work out.
Yeah. I just thought it was a cool look to see him in a polo shirt, and you can still see his big android muscles under. It's fun.
On the workout ethic of superheroes, like, Iron Man clearly doesn't have to work out, but like that suit doesn't like get taken out, right? Like, and it has to be pretty form-fitting for it to work. Like, that's gotta cost a lot for Iron Man to just be like, man, I gained 5 pounds. Like, this doesn't fit right now.
Yeah, there's gonna be more gaps in the plates. Eventually, it just becomes like different parts that are flying onto him. So I can see how they would be.
Maybe that's the reason why he eventually ended up going to like a complete nanotech thing.
Right.
He's just like, I can't even have plates of armor. My weight fluctuates so much.
You guys don't see how much chafing is under here. Like,
Because like in the beginning, he used to wear like a form-fitting bodysuit underneath.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that's probably like like Spanx that
Right.
he's wearing.
And push all the fat around there, the right spots.
Mhm.
I would pay good money for them to redo scenes where it's like he's still got like the tie sticking out of the Iron Man suit, or like just once is like hits a guy and it's like, oh fuck, I just pinched the shit out of myself.
Oh yeah, there's gotta be sharp edges and stuff. Like shoelaces have to be like hanging out all the time and tripping them.
He's just stopping whatever he has to do, or he's stopping whatever he's doing at any given time because he's in the middle of peeing. He's like, like how a baby does, like when they're shaking, like they just zone out for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, you just see that look on their face.
Because
he does
the
piss
little
in the
Iron
suit
Man
and-
lights just flicker for a few seconds.
Yeah. And Iron Man 2, when he's drunk at the party, he tells everyone how he pees in the suit, and he does. So we know that's how it works. He just does it whenever he feels like it. Oh, Hawkeye shows up for a little
Yep.
bit. And we get the Ark prison, right? What do you guys think about that? Or the raft?
Raft.
I've been playing Ark with it, Survival Evolved, and I don't even like it, but I'm putting a lot of hours onto it. But it's in my brain.
It's
Fun
not
fact.
even good.
Anyways.
It's free for me right now. I haven't looked at it.
Yeah. It's like complicated Minecraft, but there's dinosaurs, but like it takes a long time. If you're not part of if you don't play online with a tribe,
I see.
like, I should stop playing it because I don't really like it, but I want to have dinosaurs. But like, I'm not enjoying it.
What was the fun fact? I heard someone had a fun fact.
Oh yeah, so we have a fun fact about the raft.
When Tony's visiting the raft and he comes walking into the cell bay where everybody's being kept, Hawkeye, he starts clapping and goading Tony Stark, and he says, "It's the Futurist."
Yeah.
The Futurist, ladies and gentlemen. That's the name of one of Robert Downey's albums that he released.
Like a jazz album.
That's hilarious.
Wait, did you guys already fucking know that?
No.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I learned
That
it
is
today,
news to
looking
me,
at trivia.
and it's even better that it's Hawkeye doing that, because doesn't he have a really shitty music album too?
I know he has an app. I assume. I wouldn't be surprised if he also has a shitty music album.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's amazing.
Yeah. I like Jeremy Renner. He can do whatever he wants.
In fact, if he doesn't have a musical career, he should get one now.
Yeah. Tweet your song recommendations at him to cover and see if he does them.
Actually, yeah, Jeremy Renner's got an amazing voice. There's like videos all over him.
Oh, okay.
He's like in a band and shit.
Nice.
And also, not for nothing, Robert Downey sounds exactly like Dave Matthews if you listen to his shit.
Wow.
He sounds exactly like Dave Matthews. It's weird.
I wonder if it's like a Tiger King thing where he just paid Dave Matthews to record the vocals on his album. What was this? That's something, I just lost it. Oh, we have Sharon Carter, the niece of Peggy Carter. Peggy Carter dies off screen in this, and we get her funeral, but Sharon Carter's in this. She kisses Captain America in a real weird scene.
I know you said real weird, but I
Yeah.
heard railroad, and I was like,
I think they
I don't
were under a
remember.
railroad overpass.
Okay.
thing, I think you didn't really see what was going on top. I just assumed it was a train.
I
I think they were in
But
Germany, right?
I heard. You're correct.
Yeah.
No, they don't
I
have
think
freeways
railroads
in
are
Turkey.
real
It's
weird.
definitely a railroad.
Yeah, I mean, in Germany, it is all railroads.
Yeah.
Like that's. I remember that was a big thing once
Yeah.
upon a
Oh,
time.
fuck.
So.
This just got really uncomfortable, man.
So that's what people don't know about the Autobahn. It's a railroad too, so you can drive as fast as you want, and you really have to get around all the trains.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the Autobahn in Germany, there's no speed limit.
I knew that, but I
Yeah.
didn't know there were trains on there.
Yeah, it's also a railroad. They only have railroads. All the roads are railroads.
And those trains can get going fast.
Yeah,
So you better drive quick.
It's dangerous.
I've missed your shit, Jonesy.
But it was, yeah, they're under the overpass, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna help you out. And here's your gear. Here's your gear. Here's some intel." And then he kisses her, and it's like Bucky and Sam are watching, like give him like the thumbs up, and it's like it feels really weird. I think they put it in there just to be like, hey, remember he's into girls. He's not gay for Bucky. We got to make sure everybody understands that.
I mean, he still is. He really is.
Yeah. I mean, who isn't, right?
Right. He smells like oil. I can't get over, like, I could understand Captain America being into Sharon Carter right up until he realized, oh wait, this is like my ex-girlfriend / love of my life is her aunt from like, this is really creepy, and I don't need to have this be my kink, you know? Like,
right.
Like, I understand it's like technically okay because like I was frozen and she's like the same amount of time conscious. We're both right there, but like, no, can't do it.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, that's one of those things where I think that they just threw it in because it's a comics thing.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, we already introduced her character, so now they kind of have to date, right? They're like, no, we'll just have them make out once and then never see each other again.
Yeah, and I don't think we ever even see her again, ever.
We do once it gets TV shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's all we had to talk about, except for the end of the other super soldiers, the other Bucky's frozen in ice, the Soviet Winter Soldiers.
Oh, yep. I did like that misdirect that the whole time they thought that Zemo was going to wake up 5 super soldiers.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's just like, no, I hate super soldiers.
They ruin everything.
I really like the idea that Zemo is just a combination of Black Widow and Nick Fury. That he just has those skill sets and he knows he has a vision of what the world should be and what people need to do to get there, and he doesn't really care what he has to do to get there, and that's kind of Nick Fury's thing,
right?
You know, so like I really enjoyed that the villain of this was the bad version of what Nicholas Fury could have been,
right?
And yeah, I love that he had already taken out the super soldiers, and that was, you're right, that was a great misdirect. Like,
so we're not going to skate past this, bro. His name is Nick Fury. You don't call him by his Christian name. You just call him Nicholas Fury.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd be friends with him to call him Nick Fury.
You don't know that I'm not. You don't know anything about Nicholas. I know
Nicholas Jacob Fury.
I know one thing about Nicholas Fury. He likes the smell of oil.
Stop calling him that, man. It's weird. I don't know. I loved and I hated the last sequence, man, because I loved Tony's reaction after seeing the full playback of that mission. I also hated his last line as Cap's walking away with Bucky. You don't deserve that shield. My father made that shield. Like, it's just like, oh god, it's beneath you, bro.
Right. Well, he's hitting some lows in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, Pepper left him because he put the suit back on and doesn't want to take it off. And then his mom got killed, and the guy who killed his mom just kicked his ass. So he's just lashing out whenever he can.
Well, and I think too, like
not a good look.
when I'm seeing this a lot more Now that I'm rewatching them all in order, like up until Infinity War, this is really the like Iron Man starts out on the rise of Iron Man, and then everything after that is just the fall of Tony Stark. And it's not until we hit Endgame where he finally redeems himself fully. Right. Like, I thought that was like the more he tries to be heroic, the more he fails.
Right.
So
a big part of it is just he's always got to be right. Is a big thing of it, and that's he has got to let go of his ego. Like Black Widow even brings it up, and then when he does that, that's when he really gets to have that change, and then die. That's how you know someone's a real hero is when they die. But yeah, it's an interesting thing that like his support for the Sokovia Accords is kind of saying like, hey, we need to be responsible for the things that we're doing, right? So where Avengers are going out on a mission and innocent people are getting blown up, we need to take responsibility for that. And so by signing these accords, and we're under, government, oversight, that lets us do that. And but then what that really does is that kind of relieves you of the responsibility in a lot of ways, because it's then we're taking orders from these people up there. So really, whatever bad happens, it's on them. So like, where am I going with this? So, but then when he's kind of confronted with the fact that like, when Bucky as the Winter Soldier killed his parents, like he was taking orders, and he didn't even have the ability to say no to those orders, right? He was a brainwashed zombie guy. But he still wants to hold him responsible for it and take his revenge out on him. So it's that what he's saying that he kind of believes in, but by going along with the Accords, and what he really believes when he's really faced with it, they're different. And we don't really get to see him deal with that, because this is an Iron Man's movie, but like he's going through a lot of stuff in this movie that we don't really get to explore, which is why if it wasn't a Captain America movie and it was just an Avengers miniseries, we probably could have gotten a lot better characterization of that stuff.
I think too, if there had been like if there had been an Iron Man's Avengers after this, that was like minus the originals, where we could kind of see him coming to grips with the fact that like the stuff that he knows and the stuff that he feels are completely at odds with one another.
Right.
That he, I think that even in the comic books, those are the things that really make Iron Man a compelling character, is that naturally he is not a decent human being. He is naturally self-serving, selfish, smart, but not moral. And that he spends a lot of time surrounded by the same. And it's really just kind of a new thing for him to be like, well, I should probably be better. And I'm going to try, but I don't have those natural skills. Like, in a lot of ways, he's the exact opposite of Captain America, where Captain America starts.
No. I think we just lost Roy. Well, we wait for him to get back. We also have the mid and post credit scenes we got to talk about before we wrap up for tonight.
No, I think he's back.
Oh, there he is, Rory. He's gone again. Oh, he's moving again.
I keep seeing him start to move and then stop.
Just start talking whenever you're back.
I'm back.
Okay.
Okay, so you're talking about how Captain America started out good, whereas Iron Man had the arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think too, like by the end of the series, like Captain America has started off good, and he's slowly realizing that his like unshakable trust in like what America's supposed to be isn't that.
Right.
SHIELD isn't what it was supposed to be. fighting for America isn't what it's supposed to be anymore. And where at the end of the day, Captain America or Iron Man is the one who jumps on the grenade. Captain America is the one that sneaks off and shacks up with the girl. So
Mhm.
I think that's interesting. And I would have liked to see that explored a little bit more, but
Right. Yeah, he's definitely, he doesn't have that arc as far as like what his values are, but as where he puts his trust in like those various institutions and things. But he always follows like his values and his ideals up until the end, and he's like, okay, you know, I've done enough. You know, he's given up his whole life since he got that super soldier serum. It's been Captain America doing Captain America stuff. So being like, you know what, now I'm gonna go have another life. That's, you know, I think that's okay. But I think it's up to everybody to decide.
I think it's okay. I just think
Right.
that like just like I think it's
Right.
okay for Iron Man to be like, no, I build stuff that needs to be built. That's what I
Right.
do. But like I just think that it's interesting how throughout all of these movies they've been the opposite of each other, even though like neither of them is like bad or turns bad.
Right.
They're the opposite way of going through life.
Right.
And I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
That they wind up closer to each other, and that's where they leave it.
Right. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Do you guys think Captain America stuck around because of a moral fortitude or something? Cap stuck around because time travel wasn't invented. The second he figured out that they could time travel, he bounced.
Well, yeah.
Why is no one talking about this? He's not a hero.
Yeah. I mean, that's because he had saved the world for the 5th time or whatever. So it's like, yeah, I think that's enough.
I'm just gonna go endanger the multiverse.
Yeah. It's the worst that could happen. Guess we'll find out next week when the new Doctor Strange comes out. It's coming out soon. I don't know.
I think May is when it comes out.
Dude, May is going to be huge.
But if it involves time travel,
next
you
week,
could probably find out about it.
I don't know if everyone watching is aware, but we are recording this at the end of April. In the future, because time travel has been invented. You are currently watching the multiverse, so how does that make you feel?
Those times when I'm cutting out is actually when I'm going back and forth.
Yeah, he's phasing through various timelines.
There's a lot of like me like glitching out and like having me big, and I turn into a pig. It's cool.
So one thing before we get to, sorry, I wanted to rewind back to the end of the airport fight. Did anybody else think it was weird that they all stopped once War Machine got hurt?
I think the whole fight scene had this feel of like fighting like with your brother or something, where you're not really fighting. Like, I'm not actually trying to like knock my brother out. We're just like more like wrestling, whatever, to see who wins, so we can watch what I want on TV or whatever. And then it's like, oh, I just broke his arm, and now everything needs to stop. This isn't fun, and this is real now. You know, and that's just kind of the vibe of the whole fight. Nobody's trying to kill each other.
Yeah, it's actually called out at one point when Wanda pulls Black Widow off of Hawkeye, and she's like, "You're pulling your punches."
Right. Yeah, because he even asked her, like, "We're still friends, right?" Or she's asked that, and he's like, "It depends on how hard you hit me." So like they're trying to establish dominance, but they're not trying to hurt each other.
I don't disagree with anything that you guys have just said, but I feel like Jones, you have a very different relationship with your brother than I have with my little sister.
Right.
Because like when we fight, I am trying to knock her the fuck out. And like if her arm breaks, it breaks.
Right.
But like I'm watching what I want to watch.
Yeah. Well, when you have brothers, you're not, what you want to watch on TV isn't that much of a gulf between what you want to watch, right? When it's a sister and she wants to watch like a girl show, yeah, you got to fight for that.
Oh no, my sister watches like really cool stuff, like MCU and stuff. Sometimes she's like, let's watch, Winter Soldier, and I'm like,
Right.
fuck you, it's time for Guardians of the Galaxy, and that shit's on.
Yeah. Because I got a lot to learn about women. So.
I think it's more so to do with Irish families than with women. My brother choking me out was not an uncommon occurrence.
Right.
It was just how we got
true.
along.
An Irish sibling you can hit with the cinder block and it's fine.
Yeah.
Not much changes with head trauma. Like,
whack them with airplanes, fuel trucks.
Yeah, I'm an only child, so I just watch whatever I watch.
but how hard do you fight yourself to do it is the question.
Yeah.
Thad.
Let's all
Stop
get in the
making
car and go beat the
excuses.
shit out of Chad right now. Get him caught up.
It'll be an adventure.
Leave the stream going, Jonesy, so the audience can see this.
We'll just be Chad's the big window. Do that. Oh, not me, Chad. I do that.
All right.
We'll
New
do
plan.
that. Okay, we'll be there in 20 minutes. We do have the Stan Lee cameo in this where he calls Tony Stark Tony Stank. That's great. How many more Stan Lee cameos are there? 'Cause he dies before
He's still
the
in
next
all of them.
Avengers movie, right? No, okay.
Captain Marvel was his last one, right?
Yeah.
He's in Endgame also, but that was added posthumously. Like he filmed ahead of time to make sure that he was at least in there through Endgame. I'm trying to remember whether or not he was in what's the second Spider-Man?
No. They all had
I don't
similar
think he
names,
was in that one.
Far
No
From
Way
Home?
Home. Far From Home, yeah.
Far From Home, yeah.
I don't think he was in that one.
Okay.
But we'll find out in just a few short weeks, I'm sure. And,
I think we got maybe another month and a half.
okay. Sounds right. Yeah, because we still haven't even done the first Spider-Man movie. That's soon-ish.
That's in a couple of weeks because we got Doctor Strange next, then Guardians. Then I have to figure out how I'm going to watch Spider-Man because it's not on Disney Plus.
No.
Chad, I've got it if you want to come over.
Okay.
I actually probably have it too, just because I used to buy movies. Oh, that's also a good idea. Just hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do that now.
Pretty a little WD-40 on you. It's been a long couple of years.
Very rusty. Rusty Bucky goes to hypersleep in Wakanda in the mid-credit scene, and his metal arm, I assume, is rusty because it got blown off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the post-credit scene, which I always thought was very funny, was Spider-Man or Peter Parker explaining to Aunt May that he got into a fight with a guy named Steve from Brooklyn. Yeah. Fun stuff. So you guys got anything else before?
The Spider-Man Captain America meeting scene in this and Captain America meeting Groot in Infinity War. Two of my favorite Captain America scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do love so like one of my favorite, I think I brought it up on the stream before, but one of my favorite scenes in the comic books is one time Spider-Man fighting and Captain America comes in after Spider-Man's getting his ass handed to him, and like Spider-Man looks up and has that like, holy fuck, Captain America's here. This must be what it's like for civilians when I show up.
That's the other thing about this. We got Ant-Man kind of playing that role in this one a lot. The airport scene. It's fun. I'm gonna move on to our second to last segment, where we talk about where we had the movie ranked previously and where we have it now. I'm trying to pull up my list on Letterboxd. I know, Roy, you don't have a list that you have to look at. So where do you have it? What are your thoughts?
So I remember the first time I watched this movie liking it a lot more than I do now. Mostly I thought this was an Avengers movie for a long time. I still really like it, but just like some of the plot holes The things that don't make sense reduced it a little bit. So I would say that this one probably comes in under, like it's probably towards the bottom of my list right now. Like I still really enjoy it. Like I don't find anything like really wrong with it. But I would say that like I would say it's hanging out with like Iron Man,
Okay.
like
Towards the
in
bottom.
the still quality, but not as structurally sound. Like I
Right.
used to think of this one was like a close second to Winter Soldier, but like Winter Soldier was a tight movie, and this one had like the first half of it being tight, and then it got loosey throughout
Right.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
So if it was the main plot, I think I would be like super into it. But I agree with you guys that the Sokovia Accords were done less good.
Yeah. So where did you have it, Chad? Previously and now?
My previous version of the list, I had it at number 9 in between Homecoming and Far From Home. But right now I'm gonna put it in between Guardians and Ant-Man, so it's sort of right dead center of the list for me.
Okay.
Like I enjoyed it, but it wasn't something where it's like, oh man, this is one of the greats that I got to revisit over and over again, and it totally changed my opinion on it. It's just like, no, this was good. I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could fast forward from action scene to action scene and still enjoy the movie the same.
Yeah. Some good action scenes in there. So I had it previously. I had it pretty close to the bottom. I had it right above Incredible Hulk and right under Thor. I think at number 17 out of 27. But now I have it like in the middle, like the bottom of the okay ones and above like the bad ones. That makes sense. I have it like right above Age of Ultron and under Winter Soldier, like towards the bottom 9 out of 13. It's like the bottom of okay. It's not like bad, but it's not great. So I think it's weird. That's a good spot for it. But you, Buckler, what you used to think about it, and what do you think about it now?
No, it's actually probably exactly the same as you, bro. Like, it's probably the top shelf of the bottom half for me. Like, and I only give it that. Like, narratively, I would put it like right above Thor: Dark World. I'm like, this is stupid.
Oh, wow.
Narratively, I just thought it was really weak. But again, because of the character interaction that saved all of that and made it very watchable and entertaining, I will put it at the upper half, or I'll put it at the top shelf of the bottom half for me.
Top at the bottom, yeah. It's a good spot for it, I think. There's good stuff in there, but then there's just a lot of other stuff that's kind of waters it down a little bit.
Did somebody say that they put it above Winter Soldier?
No.
They have it right under Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier's my number 1.
Dude, Winter Soldier is the tits.
Might be the only person that doesn't love Winter Soldier.
How dare you?
Yeah. Okay, so that's where our rankings were and are now. And now we're just got a quick segment before we say goodnight to everybody. I didn't make any graphics for this one, and I feel bad because this would have been a good one to have ones for. But this is a game I call Size Kings. We've got Ant-Man in this and Giant Man. We changed the sizes. So I'm gonna name. I got 6 pairs of people, of MCU characters, and we're gonna go by their canonical heights according
The
to
character
the Marvel
heights
Wiki.
or the actors?
The character heights, because they're comic book people from the comics characters. Some of them, and some of them are from the movies, but they're canonical comic book heights according to the Marvel Wiki. I will give you the name of the pair, and you tell me which one is taller. And if you're right, then you get a point. And if you're wrong, then you lose, and we go on to the next person, or lose a point, or you don't lose a point, you just don't get a point. And then at the end of 2 rounds, whoever has the most points will be named Size King. Okay. You got to put that on your Tinder profile or whatever you want. So we'll start with Chad. You're at the top of the circle here.
All right.
And our first matchup, we got Doctor Strange versus Dr. Octopus. Who's taller? Who's taller?
Strange.
Strange? Oh, man, I really should have. My iPad is not great for this. There's so many pop-up ads on the Marvel Wiki. It's hard to find what I'm looking for. Doctor Strange. How much taller do you think he is? Keep talking while I find this. I don't know.
I'm gonna say 2 inches taller. I'm gonna guess that Doctor Strange is probably 5'11", and Doc Ock is like 5'9". Because he's like he gets to walk around on the robot arms, so he doesn't necessarily have to be tall to be
Oh
intimidating.
yeah, that's true.
I would say that Dr. Octopus probably started out at like 5'5", 5'6", but because he's constantly getting that stretch out of just having his limp lower half bouncing around, that's probably stretched out his spine a little bit. So yeah, I'd say that's right.
He's not having to hold. He doesn't. His body weight isn't making his
Gravity's
spine
working
compressed.
for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's not it. Oh man. I really should have looked all this up previously. I'm sorry, guys. What am I looking for here? Stephen Strange. The Marvel Wiki is not great for this. Here we go.
What site is Marvel Wiki?
Marvel.fandom.com. Physical characteristics. There it is. Sorry, I looked up Doctor Strange, and then there's like 50 different Doctor Stranges. I just want to go for the regular one.
616.
Aha. Yes. Stephen Strange. Come on, open. This piece of characteristics tab. Oh man, this is a bad game. Sorry, guys. He's 6'2". 6'2". Doctor Strange. Otto Octavius. He is. Oh god. How tall do you think he is, Rory? I looked this up.
I agree. 5'8", 5'9". Maybe all the way up to 5'10". I feel like he's a little bit stronger than or taller than Spider-Man, but
5'9" original body, and it says here 5'10" in Peter Parker's body. So yeah, 1 inch difference. Okay. But yeah, Stephen Strange is 3 inches taller. So point to Chad.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so Bachler, you have to tell me who's taller, Steve Rogers' Captain America or Human Torch. Johnny Storm, both played infamously in movies by Chris Evans.
Shit. All right, Cap is definitely taller, but I'm guessing not by much. Because wasn't Johnny Storm in the comic books like an athlete or something? Wasn't he like a football player or some crap like that?
Ben, a motorcycle guy?
I think Ben was more athletic. Yeah. Johnny liked working on cars and stuff. Like he wanted to be a race car driver, whereas Ben was a football player, boxer, pilot, if I recall correctly.
And
all right, I'm going to say Cap. Cap is taller. It's 6 foot. I'm going to call him a solid 6'4". And Human Torch is 6, even maybe 5'11" at best.
So he probably tells people he's 6 foot then.
Exactly.
I'm going to say 6'2".
6'2"
for the Torch.
But you're calling Captain America taller by God. iPads are the worst thing for this game.
It's like looking into the future, bro. This is going to be you in 30 years.
6'2". Captain America, 6'2". I guess post transformation, same as Doctor Strange, and then Human Torch. Oh my god.
Human Torch is 5'10".
5'10". There you go. Boom. Thank you, Chad. So point to you, Buck. This is gonna be a close game.
All right,
Rory.
Yes.
For you, we got Black Widow versus Wolverine. I assume Black Widow is short because Scarlett Johansson's pretty short. Wolverine
Black Widow's taller by like 2 feet.
Yeah, Wolverine's tiny in the comics, dude.
I just know Scarlett Johansson's a small lady, but
like I would say that she's probably like 5'11" and he's like 5'2".
I think. Can I piggyback here? Just want to guess.
Yeah, of course. Please.
I remember reading Wolverine's profile years ago, and he's something like 5'6", 200 pounds, or something like that.
His weight's gone up. Like last time I saw, like he was in the 5 foot range, like short, but like short by comic book standards, like normal size by normal standards, but like 300 some pounds, like just all of that metal.
Oh yeah, it's gotta be.
Also, the fact that he's like over 100 years old, and your metabolism slows down over time.
Yeah.
It's true.
He gets up to pee like 9.
Dave, did you find it?
So I got Natalia Romanoff, which I guess is what her name is in the comics. Is 5'7".
Natalia Romanova, yeah.
Yes. But
She's 5 foot what?
Wolverine is
5'7".
5'3", 300 pounds, according to Marvel Wiki.
300 pounds.
Oh,
Crazy.
I remember him being 5'3" because I remember there's like a Marvel card or something back in the day
Right.
that said that Wolverine is the shortest member of the X-Men only because Jubilee was not an official member of the X-Men.
Oh.
Otherwise, she would be the shortest at 5'1". Because at the time she was like 16, I think.
I remember the one time that I read it being like, oh, my dad's actually taller than Wolverine. Nobody else, because my dad was like 5'5", but
Totally explain those team meetings why Wolverine was advocating for Jubilee to be on the team.
Okay,
All
Chad.
right. I got my hands up so you know that I'm not typing to try and Google this.
So we need you to tell us who's taller, Colossus or the Thing.
I assume that you mean both in transformed forms, right?
Yes.
Okay,
I
I'm
think.
going to go
We'll
with
see what-
Colossus. Going to say that
Piotr
Colossus is it's about 7 feet when he's transformed
Wow.
into steel, and the Thing is about 6'8".
I've got the thing for you, David.
Okay. So what's the Thing? Because I've got Piotr.
Yeah, the
Piotr
thing is
Nikolaevich.
officially 6 feet tall.
Really, just 6 feet even?
Yep, 6 foot even.
Wow.
He's just really wide, so he seems
Right.
smaller.
Yeah. So he's just big. He's bulky. He's a bulky boy. So yeah. So Piotr Rasputin, 6'6" normal, 7'5" armored. Wow. The point of Chad. You go. Perfect game so far for Chad. So okay. Who's taller, Iron Man or War Machine? Tony Stark or the other guy? Colonel Rhodes.
Fuck.
Yeah, I think the actors. I think Robert Downey Jr. is notoriously short man. I think he's my height.
We're talking these dudes out of the suit or in the suit?
I think out of the suit just has people.
Damn.
I think in the suits they're about the same size. I think the suits are the same size. Or they look the same size. Anthony Stark.
I'm going to say War Machine's taller.
How tall is he?
Did you look these up before you did the game?
No, I didn't. I really thought I was going to be able to look this up a lot faster. This is
Okay.
happening. I didn't think about it until about 10 minutes before we started.
Rory, did you want to jump in on a guess before the answer is revealed?
I'm going to go ahead and say Iron Man's taller.
All right. According to the Marvel Wiki, they're both 6'1".
Oh, there you go. Trick question,
Man,
assholes.
that was going to be my first
feel
answer. It's like they're the same height, in the same suit. Like, what the fuck?
I told you the suits are the same size. You should have just gone with me.
Shit.
Only Iron Man's armor is listed for height. War Machine does not have his armor listed.
Okay, here we go. Last question. We can tie it up, Rory, and then I guess we'll have to do a tiebreaker, I guess? If you get it right.
We can just guess which one of us is taller.
Oh, well, I don't know if that's fair. But Thor versus Star-Lord. Who's
Thor
taller?
is taller.
Thor?
I would say not by much, but I
Hmm.
think he's like solidly in the 6'5", 6'6". Like he's standing
Wow.
whenever he's standing in like next to Captain America, he's always like tall. I don't know how much of it's helmet.
Yeah,
but
I get
he's
the
definitely
big
taller.
his wings on his hat.
Yeah, and it's got those big boots, but those are like Viking
Yeah.
boots. I'm not sure how much they're lifted. Like,
But Star-Lord, he's always trying to compete with Thor ever since they meet him. So I just assume height-wise, I don't know. Oh, Chad,
All right, I got it.
In trouble.
All
All right.
Give the answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Peter Quill is 6'2". Thor Odin's son 6'6".
Oh. All right. Time for the tiebreaker because you guys both got 2 points. Bachler, you
Before
did
that,
not.
I just want to mention their weights. Peter
Oh, okay.
Quill is 6'2", 175 pounds. Thor Odin's son is 6'6", 640 pounds.
No. 640 pounds without armor. That's
Apparently.
his body. That's crazy. Yeah, it's super dense muscle.
he's
That's why
very
he's so strong.
meaty.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was a good pun.
Dude, I could box Star-Lord all day. That dude's tiny.
Yeah.
176 is 6'2"?
Yeah. That
I
sounds
take it.
scrawny as hell.
Yeah.
I could take it.
That's 8 inches taller than me and 10 pounds heavier. No, not really. Close. All right, so for the tiebreaker.
That's 8 inches taller than me and 10 pounds less.
For the tiebreaker, are we going to have the... Oh, never mind. Rory just revealed his height. I was going to say we should have each other guess each other's height.
Oh, guess each other's height.
That doesn't really work because Rory just said how tall he is.
So what we'll do is you each have to guess by naming a character in the Marvel Universe who is canonically as close to David Bachler's height as possible. So don't tell him how tall you are yet, but we've all seen you before. We know that you're a tall man. You're taller than any of us.
Mm-hmm.
So which Marvel character do you think is the closest to Bachler's height?
I mean,
we know Captain America is 6'2".
I was gonna say
Colossus is 7'5" when he's armored. Wolverine's 5'3".
I'm gonna go ahead and say Human Torch.
Human Torch? I think what did we say is 5'10" or something.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was at like 6'2".
It's Captain America, and then
Michael's got to be 6'4". So
who's slightly taller, but not as tall as Thor. Who's in between Thor and Captain America?
Chad, you have a very pensive Asian look on your face right now, bro. Did you freeze?
He's doing math. He's doing math.
No,
Okay.
I'm just thinking about how tall random characters in comics are, and how often that's actually like used as a standard.
Yeah.
Which is
I'm gonna say
not super often.
Deadpool is the same height as Bachler.
All right. Since we're just gonna name random Marvel characters, I'm gonna say Blade.
Oh, Blade. That's a good one.
Okay.
Chad, I'm gonna have to ask you to look that up because that's not helping tonight. Yeah, but so whichever one of you is the closest to. Oh, how tall are you, Bach? Oh, he's gone. He's disappointed.
And the answer will remain a mystery.
He had to go measure himself. At your back, how tall are you?
No, I was just legit trying to bounce before I had to participate. Joke's on you, cockbag. All right. No.
God damn it!
I'm 6'2" 3/4.
Oh.
Boom!
Slightly taller than Captain America.
And slightly taller than Deadpool, who is 6'2".
Oh,
Yeah.
That's close.
Blade, also 6'2".
Oh.
Hey!
Midgets.
Okay. Oh, now we have to do a double tiebreaker. So now you guys have to name who is that's closest in height to me.
Oh,
Jubilee,
You know
100%.
I'm in between Chad's height and Rory's height. I think, like right in the middle.
I'm gonna say Black Cat.
Oh,
that's a good one.
yeah. You're gonna be better off naming female characters. I think. All the men are over 6 feet tall in the Marvel universe.
I am going to say Dum Dum Dugan.
Dum Dum Dugan. Yeah, so I'm 5'5.5". I think it says 5'6" on my driver's license. But yeah, one time I was getting weighed in the Air Force, and the lady asked me how tall I was, and I said 5'5", but because I talk and quietly and stumble over my words, she thought I said 5'9", and she said to the guy with the clipboard, "This guy thinks he's 5'9". I went, that's not what I said. How would I think I'm 5'9"?
All right, so Dum Dum Dugan is 6'2".
Oh,
Yeah.
everyone's 6'2".
Felicia
Yeah.
Hardy, the Black Cat, is 5'10".
Boom. So Chad, you are officially the size king. Let everyone know that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Also, one last story before we wrap up that I would like to tell. So when Captain America Civil War came out, they actually did a marathon at theaters where they were showing Captain America First Avenger, the Avengers movie, Captain America Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, and then finally debuting Captain America Civil War. And it was a 5-movie marathon. I took the day
Wow.
off from work in order to go and watch it, and I was
Right.
super excited. I got a couple of friends that were also like, yeah, we're all going to go and we're going to meet up at Ward at 8 in the morning. We're going to watch movies all day, and it's going to be awesome. And then the receptionist at my office fell down in the elevator.
No.
Yeah, she separated her shoulder and had to go home early the day before.
Oh, okay.
And
So how did
There-
she enjoy the marathon?
Yeah. Did
I don't know.
just
She
say that so she
didn't
could go
tell
to
me.
I can't come
But-
into work tomorrow. I hurt my shoulder.
Yeah, I had to go into work the next day in
Oh,
order to
no.
cover for her. And eventually I got them to let me go early. So out of the 5-movie marathon of Captain America First Avenger, The Avengers, Captain America Winter Soldier, and Age of Ultron, which, by the way, Age of Ultron is at the very bottom of my list. Guess which movie I got there in time to watch? Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron? Uh-huh.
Yes.
Dude, I love Age of Ultron. What?
Oh, we
That
should have
is
had you on for that.
absolutely the bottom of my list. I hate that movie. It's also the one that I've watched the most because for some
Yeah.
reason TNT plays it all the time.
Yeah, and you weren't able to join us for the Age of Ultron watch along, but we did shout you out during the scene where Captain America is just ripping logs apart with his bare hands, because I know
Ah, yes.
you're a fan of
I
that.
was definitely thinking about that scene the whole time that I wasn't there.
Yeah, so that is our stream for tonight. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Chad and Roy, for being here, and a special thanks to you, David Bachler, for taking the time to join us. You guys have
Good
anything
catching
you
up with you, boys. Thanks for having me.
want to plug before we say goodnight to everybody? Go
I'm
see
good.
something in the movie theaters. Something. So what's in the movies right now? The Batman and
Uncharted. If you want
yeah. Don't watch Mark Wahlberg movies, but it's out there. Anyways, we're gonna say goodnight. We're gonna roll out on the kiss from this movie. So we'll see you guys next week. And here we go. No, the sound.
Can you move your seat up? No. I owe you again.
Keeping a list. You know, he kind of tried to kill me.
Sorry.
This clip is too
I'll
long.
put it on the list too.
Just get a kiss.
They're
weird,
building
right?
up the romantic tension.
This is
Bucky would have done it
romantic at
already.
all.
Thank you, Sherry.
I don't think that's a train track bridge.
You sure? Look, those
mean-
don't look like rails.
No, I think
Oh, there it goes.
no, it's
I'm
too wide,
definitely
man.
taller
That's
than
definitely a
Chris
freeway.
You might be,
That was
Late.
yeah, right.
and it's late for us. So good night, everybody. See you
Good
next
night.
week.